Shooting USA is brought to you by SnapSafe and the full line of Trek-Lite lockboxes. Affordable security for home or travel. Get 15% off with code SUSA15 at snapsafe.com. Today is a look back to a program we first profiled 3 years ago. Faster Saves Lives. It's the intensive training program for teachers and school staff that qualifies the real first responders to carry and defend students in their schools. Faster was developed in Ohio and is funded by the Buckeye Firearms Foundation. But in the 10 years since the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting, the program has trained over 3,000 staff members working in 300 school districts across 18 states. The weekend certification course goes way beyond a typical concealed carry class, with instructors teaching with the intensity of boot camp. On the firing line.
Come on, stay in there with your trigger finger.
And in the classroom.
He didn't fit the profile of the active killer until the day that he did it.
It's a lot like 3 days of Army boot camp, complete with a salty drill instructor whose methods and mouth aren't always polite.
That's the last advice I'm going to give you. Now you figure it out. Do you think this gun's coming out of your hand at any point right now? No, sir. Hell no.
These little pricks are no challenge.
And if you have to reload, haul ass. Reload like your life depends on it, because it might.
No holds barred for instructor Chris Serino. No apologies either.
What they're being trained to do is not a clean, neat, politically correct, or kind job. They may have to do something that is bloody, violent, and dirty. If this offends them, they need to wash out now. Get them!
This is serious business for Chris and these volunteers. Maybe life or death. They're training to stop a killer, a shooter, in a school. So Tabitha Smith and Ken Blenda are okay with a little tough talk.
I'd much rather he be hard on me so that I come up to the challenge.
It sinks in. If you're too gentle sometimes, it doesn't sink in.
Damn it, I love to see success. I yell because I care. When we get results, we demand results, and we get them.
We're on the inside of a program called FASTER, the acronym for Faculty, Administrators, Safety, Training, and Emergency Response. It's a nonprofit program preparing teachers, administrators, and school personnel to stop a killer in their schools and to help victims and first responders once the shooting stops.
You never know when the bad guy's gonna come. You never know when bad things are gonna happen. I don't know how anybody's gonna stop a shooter in a building without having a gun. Best response to gun violence is a gun. Someone who's trained and responsible with a firearm. Yeah, there you go.
The director of FASTER, Jim Irvine, says the program's slogan is to the point. Time is all that matters when a shooter attacks.
Reload that gun, David.
Time is all that matters. Our schools don't have time to wait for outside help to come in and solve their problem. They have to have the resources in the building at the time the shooting starts. I'm like, so how about we get them the tools and skills so that instead of dying for the kids on event day, they live for the kids on event day? Isn't that a better lesson to teach our children?
Good, that's good. That's how we learn. If we don't make mistakes, how do we learn?
These educators sure believe that. Mike McCoy is superintendent in Jackson County, Ohio.
Initially, I didn't necessarily want to put guns in a gun-free building, but that's not necessarily the world we live in right now. And we're doing it haphazardly. I think we are doing the training and preparation to be safe and secure.
With FASTER's help, Mike has armed 12 teachers in his schools. But he insists this training is just one part of a total security plan, a plan he won't even reveal to the parents.
And I've tried to answer them in board meetings sometimes. I really can't tell you everything we've done. And you as a parent don't want me to tell you everything that we've done.
FASTER coaches get that too. School safety is more than pulling a trigger. So they drill first aid and rescue for hours, like the forehand seat carry to transport the wounded, and applying a tourniquet to stop the bleeding.
Again, red part to the heart, high and tight, the higher the better, the tighter the better, and crank the windlass until the bleeding stops.
I teach science, so as a science teacher, I understand how quickly somebody can bleed out. It's giving me more confidence, so I'll know exactly what to do.
When people step in and do those things, that's when it makes the difference. But to not do anything and to just hope it goes away or hopes it stops is obviously what's going to cost lives.
Not every educator who takes this training wants you to know who he or she is. Surprise is a genuine ally. In fact, half this class opted not to appear on Shooting USA. This teacher won't even reveal her name.
What school district do you work for? What town are you from?
I can't answer that.
We'll call her Kate and disguise her voice.
Our school district, according to the policy of the state of Ohio, chose to make our safety policy anonymous, private. I think it's a good decision. Who would be the first target if people knew? The people who carry.
That's what's at stake. That's their commitment to protect the kids in their schools.
Absolutely, I didn't have to think twice about it.
I'm telling you, these people got heart. They have it in them. So that's the kind of person you want protecting your kids. You tell me that's not. Tell me that's not the type of person you want protecting your kids.
Good people understanding the responsibility of protecting the children in their charge. And you'll meet more of them and hear their reasons for being prepared for an active shooter coming next.
The .22 Advanced Rifle Cartridge easily outperforms all other .22 caliber cartridges in its class, producing .22 250 performance in an AR-15 platform. The .22 ARC is engineered to take full advantage of the most aerodynamic .22 caliber bullets. This means tighter groups, increased accuracy, and an exceptional shooting experience. .22 Advanced Rifle Cartridge from Hornady.
The Faster Saves Lives program was originally developed by the Tactical Defense Institute, Apex Training, and the Grossman Academy, all organizations that train elite law enforcement in their response once they arrive on the scene of an active shooting. The FASTER program gives schools the opportunity to save lives before the professionals arrive, when motivated teachers and staff are the real first responders at the scene. Who answers the bell when alarms go off? Who runs to the sound of shots fired? For most of his life, John Janata has. He's a former NFL football player and a firefighter, retired after 30 years.
I'll go into a burning building any day of the week.
So if you're looking to find a hero here, John might be a good choice.
I've been used to running to the sound of the commotion for that amount of time. It's a little different, but still commotion, still trying to save people's lives.
I need to start training hard at 50 yards because if I'm going to ambush the bad guy, and this is my ambush point.
Today, John is training with a FASTER instructor inside a public school. John has a teaching certificate now and hopes to teach school in retirement. It makes sense to him to be ready to fight if that time ever comes, but John insists he's no hero.
I don't think it'll be any different. I think I'll do what has to be done and get it done.
Tabitha Smith rejects the notion that she's anyone's hero, though her shirt today says otherwise. Tabitha is a small-town science teacher and about as different from John as she can be, with one important exception.
I became a teacher because I love children. I like to see them become all that they can be and have a future. And with the world that we live in today, the threats that are out there, I just can't sit back and do nothing.
So I want you to lunge that direction right there. There you go.
So Tabitha decided to get ready. Like every educator in FASTER training, she's gone through days of school just to get here. Hours of classes about the history of school violence, self-defense law, and instruction at the range. And like all the volunteers who come to this program, Tabitha has qualified for her concealed carry permit. Stepping up just to be faster trained requires an enormous commitment.
So I feel like if I have the skills and the capability to protect our children even more, that's what I'm going to do.
It's a pledge to her students and to their parents. Neither may ever see.
I don't know if they do, but I think my students know that I love them and care about them, and that I would do anything for them.
Faster's Jim Irvine believes that is heroic. Normal people stepping up to answer the call for volunteers.
It shows the dedication of our school staff. And it surprised me at first, but when you look back at it, these are people willing to die for someone else's children. How does it surprise us that they're willing to do whatever it takes to attain this level of skill?
This is where I like to control the room. This protects me from out there.
This man is helping develop that skill, instructor Andrew Bluebow. Andrew is a policeman, a former SWAT leader who trains other cops in firearms and tactics. Today, he's drilling these educators on ways to confront a school shooter.
If I'm sitting here, I need to own everything in this hallway. That's a hard shot. Don't feel like you have to point the gun out in front of you. You actually take your field of vision away by putting that gun out in front of your face. Remember, poor tactics will get you killed.
Andrew doesn't think he's turning teachers into heroes, but he is convinced the tools he gives them will ultimately save lives.
I know we're saving lives, because the sooner we can get there, the sooner we can get a good guy with a gun to aggress the bad guy, the killing of the innocent stops.
And Andrew's next student believes that too. David Duvall is principal of a small Christian school in Ohio. Far from a hero, he struggles just to speak about why he's committing to carrying a gun.
Then take the room, David.
If we were, God forbid, but a victim of a shooting attack at our school, we basically have no protection for our students. We would have nothing that we'd be able to do outside of calling the police. Nothing in place, kind of a sitting duck for something like that.
The choice for David was obvious: respond to force in his school with force and with proper training.
Obviously, you can never guarantee the safety of every child. It's just impossible. But at least, now I know we're doing what we can do. We're trying to prepare and do our best.
Good, David. Next.
Every Faster teacher knows what we all know: nothing stops a madman with a gun but a good guy with a gun. And they're all about to find out just what that can be like. Coming up, shots fired in a public high school. It's the test of their new skills. Just like in their school classes, there is a final exam for the teachers taking the Faster instruction course. But this final isn't 20 multiple choice questions. It's the simulation of an active shooter in a high school that requires immediate life-saving action with airsoft guns. Shots fired in an American school. Locked doors, warning signs, and security cameras do not make a school a fortress. Killers do get in. Today, we witness force on force. Faster instructors training teachers in deadly scenarios they may face, eye to eye with bad guys with guns.
What I'm gonna do is put the gun against your head, pull the trigger, and spray your brains all over the wall.
There are wounded victims, blank gunshots, and killers as lifelike as Faster instructor Chris Serino can make them.
They're going to get a little taste of the chaos today, and it is going to be hard for them to make decisions.
Precisely the point. The bad guys and teachers training to stop them are armed with air guns with plastic pellets.
Hold it! Free!
Everyone wears protective gear, so the price of a mistake today is low.
Training is the place to make mistakes. This is a great place to make mistakes, and we learn best by making mistakes, and we'll see what kind of mistakes they make.
While the shooting scenarios are invented, the nerves are all too real. Ask science teacher Tabitha Smith.
The unknowns. You're always nervous about what you don't know about.
Where's he at? Get out of my way!
Blank gunfire sets Act 1 in motion. A boy fed up with relentless bullies is holding his classmates at gunpoint.
I'm so sick of it. I'm going to kill every one of you. Every one of you. I'm going to kill every one of you.
Tabitha creeps along the hallway, passing victims both wounded and dead, as she slowly searches for the gunman. One student gets away. When she reaches the hostage scene, instinct takes over. Tabitha moves in, the shooter fires back.
I'm going to kill all of you. You understand what I'm saying? You remember what you've been doing, right? You remember what you've been doing?
She directs a student to call 911 as Chris brings the exercise to an end. Then the instructor seizes the teaching moment.
You were about 12 feet from him and you still weren't hitting him. You guys are accountable for every round that leaves the barrel. I was kind of glad that she closed the distance. But for God's sakes, make the first one count.
Chris's feedback is as blunt as ever, but Tabitha's pace as shots echoed in the hallway brings a harsher critique.
Moving so slowly down the hallway when there are gunshots at the other end of the hallway is also not appropriate.
I'm so sick of you guys.
One after another, each educator faces a threat that feels too real.
Hey, I'm so sick of it.
You should have been ready to fight, not with the gun down here. Breathe. Keep breathing, Bob. Keep breathing. You okay? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just,
Okay.
it's
There's a lot to
so
take
much
in, isn't
going
there?
on, yeah.
Ken Blenda abandons his cover to shoot.
Verbal commands when feasible. More feasible would be you using cover, okay?
Stop! Freeze! Put it down!
David Duvall fails to close distance to target and shoots 2 hostages.
Anybody else get hit in here? So you shot a couple innocent people in the head as well?
Ex-firefighter John Janata eliminates the threat but needs more control in the aftermath.
We point at somebody and we say, you call 911. Not somebody, not anybody. We're specific about it.
I'm still breathing hard. I don't think my pulse got that high going into burning buildings.
We learn best by making mistakes. But man, these guys are making a lot of mistakes right now. We'll see what happens next one.
Next up, Jeff Smith takes care of business in the hunt and in the firefight.
Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
But Jeff gives his enemy a chance to shoot back.
Did he hit you at all?
Yeah, hit my arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it worth it to give verbal commands for this one?
Yeah.
Would it have been better to not give verbal commands and maybe use the cover?
Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
A split-second decision, life or death. Jeff's heart is beating almost out of his chest, but his brain goes straight to his training.
Who has a cell phone? Call 911, tell them our location, the room number's on the window over there.
I'm trying to maintain composure. I'm trying to go back to what they said, the training. I'm hoping that the training kicks in, so I'm trying to react as we've been taught, and I'm trying to secure the scene and get to the situation as quickly as I can.
This middle school teacher feels the weight of his choices and the value in every lesson.
Is there any other shooter? No. Is he the only one?
I think for 20 plus years now, we've been going through training in our schools, and it's continuously going up a notch. This is something that not all schools have bought into yet, but to me, it's invaluable.
But not just for the teachers, for their students. And Chris Serino sees heroics in that.
We don't have a bunch of barrel-chested freedom fighters out there. These are just ordinary people. But do you know what a hero is? A hero is an ordinary person forced to do an extraordinary thing.
Drop it!
Thanks again for tuning into the Shooting USA YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed the content. A couple of notes. Make sure you take advantage of SUSA15 at snapsafe.com. That's our discount code that saves you 15% on anything from SnapSafe, and that gets to be some big money when you start talking about modular safes and vault doors. Also, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our new content. As always, a like and a comment helps us with that algorithm.